I woke up that morning when the butler knocked on my door and said it was 7 o'clock. I got up, washed up, had breakfast, and changed into my school uniform. Today was the class awakening, the most important day of my life. My parents are two of the 3 strongest guardians in Zhang City, both over level 400. I told myself I needed to awaken a decent class so I wouldn't embarrass them. Zhang Xia, the butler's son and my childhood friend, was waiting by the car. We got in the back of the limousine and headed to school. He looked restless, so I asked if he was nervous. "Yeah, how could I not be?" he said. "If I awaken a life class like Chef or Tailor, that's it for me. I'll just end up inheriting my dad's job and become your butler. I want a combat class. I want to fight the alien races, level up, and see what it's like past level 100. I told him there was nothing wrong with being a butler. His dad is well respected. But he shook his head. He said only combat classes are truly respected in this world. I leaned back and thought the same thing. Even though I could live comfortably no matter what because of my family, I still wanted real power. In this world, strength is everything. Zhangxia looked at me and said, "I'd be fine. Your parents are both level 400. Genetics matter a lot for awakening. You'll probably get a hidden class or a strong DPS one, definitely better than mine." Then he added hopefully that even a warrior or shield warrior would be enough for him. When we arrived at Zhang City No. 1 Middle School, a lot of luxury cars were already there. As we walked in, several students greeted me. I nodded and said hello back. Right after I got to my seat in Class 2, Grade 3, Wang Yiqing called my name loudly. The whole classroom went quiet. He walked up to me with his chin raised and said, "Today is Awakening Day. In exams, I was always a bit behind you, but that was just theory. Awakening depends on talent and bloodline. His dad is the 3rd pillar of Zhang City, also level 400, so our families have always been rivals. Wang Yixing has compared himself to me since we were kids and never won." He continued, "I can feel it. The power inside me is restless. The class I awaken will definitely be stronger than yours. Today I'm going to beat you." I sat down and looked at him. "Wang Yixing," I said, "you haven't beaten me before, and you won't beat me in the future either." I said it plainly, like it was just a fact. But Wang Yixing's face turned red right away. He gritted his teeth and told me not to get ahead of myself, that we'd see. Then he went back to his seat, making the chair loud when he sat down. Zhangxia leaned over and whispered that it was dominant. I told him I was just saying the truth. The class started talking about who would awaken the stronger class between me and Wang Yiqing. They said both our families had strong genes. Some hoped for mage or assassin, others said they'd be happy with any combat class. If they got something like gardener, they'd just have to accept a normal life. Everyone was nervous because this was the big divide. Good class and you rise up, bad class and you stay at the bottom. At 8 o'clock, our teacher Old Zhang came in and told everyone to head to the gymnasium. We all walked over together. The place was packed with the whole senior year, over 1,000 people. The principal kept it short and started the awakening ceremony. They called people in groups of 10 to the rooms in the back. When it was Zhangxia's turn, he got really tense. He looked at me and said he was going. I told him good luck. Wang Yiqing walked past me and said, "Just watch. I'm going to show you what a genius really is." I watched the door to room 3 where Zhangxia went in. I was worried for him because he's sensitive and it would hit him hard if he got a useless class. A few minutes later, Zhangxia burst out holding a wooden longbow with a quiver on his back. He was jumping and shouting my name, saying he got marksman. The crowd got loud. People said it was a strong long-range combat class and he'd do well in dungeons. He ran back to me, still excited, holding up the bow. "Brother Fang, I have a bow. I'm a combat class." I told him congratulations. I was happy for him. Then there was a loud boom like thunder. The whole gymnasium shook. A dark cloud appeared above room 5 with purple lightning inside. Everyone started talking. It was a special phenomenon which only happens for powerful hidden classes. After the lightning struck, Wang Yiqing walked out. His hair was standing up, blue electric arcs were running around his body, and he held a deep blue longsword with lightning on it. He walked slowly, looking very arrogant as he took in all the shocked and jealous stares. I stood there as Wang Yiqing walked up to me with electricity still crackling around him. He raised his thunder sword and told me this was his class, Thunder Swordsman. He said it had strong lightning damage and paralysis, and that even though his dad only started as a normal swordsman, he was beginning as this rare one. He said he would become stronger than his dad, and asked what I had to compare with him. I just nodded and said, "Congratulations." I kept my voice even. He looked frustrated when I didn't react much. Before he could say more, the principal called the next group, including me. I walked past him toward the awakening room. I went into room 10. It was small and dark, with black metal walls. In the middle was a stone pedestal with a crystal ball on it. I put my hand on it. After a moment, I heard a ding in my head. The panel showed I awakened as Small Tycoon. Level 1, all attributes at 10, which is completely average. The skill was Money Smash. It costs 1 gold coin to deal strength times 3 damage. It looked like a trash class. But then I saw the talent. Money conquers all. It was temporary, only 5 minutes. It let me convert real money to gold coins at 100 to 1, and I could spend gold coins to increase my class potential. The talent would disappear after 5 minutes. I didn't waste time. I converted 2 million from my bank card and got 20,000 gold coins. Then I used 100 gold to upgrade. It became Tycoon. All attributes went up by 5, and Money Smash damage increased to Strength times 5. The next upgrade cost 1,000 gold. I did it and became Great Wealthy Man. Attributes and skill got stronger again. Then it cost 10,000 gold for the next one. I used it and advanced to Financial Magnate. I felt power moving through my body. Now the next upgrade needed 100,000 gold coins. That's 10 million in real money. I only had 8,900 gold left. It wasn't enough. The countdown was at 3 minutes and 28 seconds. This was my chance to change things, so I couldn't stop here. I took out my phone and called my dad. I told him I was in the middle of awakening and needed a lot of money transferred right away. The more the better, and it had to be fast because I only had 3 minutes left. He didn't ask any questions. He just said okay and hung up. I waited, watching the countdown drop. At 1 minute left, the bank message came in. My dad had sent 150 billion. I converted all of it and got 15 billion gold coins. I used the talent to upgrade my class potential right away. I spent 100,000 gold, then 1 million, then 10 million, then 100 million, and finally 1 billion on the last upgrade. Each time the class advanced and my attributes and skills got much stronger. The talent disappeared after 5 minutes. When the light faded, my new class was God of Wealth, unique. Level 1, but all 4 attributes were at 1,000. I had 388 million gold coins left. My skills were Money Talks, which lets me spend gold coins for true damage, and Money Makes the Devil Mill, which lets me summon up to 10 money ghosts with the same attributes as me. Outside the room, 4 minutes had passed with no reaction. Wang Yiqing was standing there and said I was probably just ordinary, no matter how strong my parents were. Other students were whispering the same thing. Then a bright golden light burst out of my room. It was much stronger than the lightning from Wang Yiqing's awakening. The light shot through the gymnasium dome into the sky and formed a huge phantom of an ancient coin high above. I walked out of the room. Everyone was staring at me after that big golden coin appeared in the sky. Wang Yiqing came up and blocked my way. He asked what I awakened, his voice sounding hurried. I told him it was a secret. He got angry, but I walked past him back to the lineup. Jiangxia ran over and hugged me. He said the golden coin was incredible and that my phenomenon was way bigger than Wang Yiqing's. Other classmates gathered around and congratulated me, saying things like, "Young Master Lu, carry us in the future." I smiled and thanked them. Then I went to a corner and called my dad to tell him what happened. He didn't pick up. I tried a few more times and called my mom too, but no one answered. I figured they were busy on a mission, so I put the phone away. When the whole awakening ceremony finished, the principal came back on stage. He said this year went well and then told us about the initial dungeon. Everyone who just awakened gets 1 free chance to enter it. There are 15 levels, and the further you go, the better the rewards and evaluation. The principal said the school would give extra rewards for the top 100 in the dungeon rankings. First place would get an exclusive equipment blind jar, unbound. A lot of people got excited because that jar could give equipment suited to your own class, and sometimes even good stuff. I wanted that jar. My class has high attributes, but can't use normal weapons or armor, so I need exclusive items. Wang Yiqing came over again and said we both had special classes with phenomena, but he would prove he was stronger. Jiangxia told him not to be arrogant because my phenomenon was much bigger. Wang Yiqing snorted and said loudly that his initial strength was 60 points. Everyone around got shocked and started talking about how crazy that was. He looked at me, waiting for a reaction. I just looked back at him and said, "Oh." I wasn't impressed by his 60 strength. I had 1,000 on my panel, so 60 didn't mean anything to me. Wang Yiqing's face turned dark red. He gritted his teeth and said I should wait and see who does better in the dungeon. Then the principal put his hand on the big crystal ball and said all students should prepare to teleport. Gray light shot out and covered everyone. The next second, the whole gymnasium was empty. I opened my eyes in a gray, empty space. A mechanical voice said the first challenge was starting with 10 monsters. 10 red lights appeared in front of me and turned into tusked boars. I immediately summoned my money ghosts at full power, spending 100,000 gold coins. 10 golden figures appeared around me. They were 2 meters tall, made of gold-like muscle, with a big coin mark where their faces should be. Each one had 1,000 in every attribute. The boars barely finished spawning before the money ghosts attacked. One casual swing from the front one crushed all 10 boars instantly. Damage numbers over 2,000 popped up, and the boars exploded into red light. It was over in 1 hit. The system said level 1 cleared in 1 second. I got 100 experience and leveled up to level 2 right away. All my attributes jumped from 1,000 to 1,100. The money ghosts grew bigger too, and their attack power increased. I looked at the panel and couldn't believe it. A normal class only gets about 40 total attribute points per level. Even Wang Yiqing's hidden class probably gets around 100 total. I got 400. The gap was going to get even bigger as I leveled up. I stood there smiling a little. I was just too strong. I realized right away how broken this class was. The stronger I got, the stronger my money ghosts became. The stronger they were, the faster they cleared monsters, the faster I leveled up. The faster I leveled up, the stronger I became. It was a perfect loop, with no end. I looked at the 10 golden figures around me and laughed. Come on, let the storm rage on. Outside in the stadium, the big screen showed my level jump from 1 to 2. The teachers noticed it first. Then they saw I cleared the first level in 1 second. They started saying it must be a bug. But before they could finish arguing, my level started flashing like crazy on the screen. 2, then 5, then 8, then 10. Everyone went silent. The teachers stared with their mouths open. Old Zhang was holding the railing, shaking. The vice principal said it couldn't be a bug because the times were slightly different each time. They realized I was actually clearing the levels that fast. Inside the dungeon, I kept going. Level after level, my money ghosts tore through everything. 20 wolves, 50 jungle leopards, 100 iron bears, all gone in seconds. I reached level 3, then 4. My attributes kept going up by 100 each time, and the money ghosts grew with me. By the time I hit level 15, the final challenge, there were 200 elite bloodthirsty lizards. They were level 10 and supposed to be the hardest thing in the dungeon. I told the money ghosts to clean it up. They finished all 200 in 3 seconds. I got 30,000 experience and leveled up to 5. My attributes reached 1,400. The dungeon should have ended and teleported me out, but the white light never came. The gray sky suddenly turned blood red. The temperature dropped fast, and a strong smell of blood filled the air. I saw the warning pop up. I had cleared the first 15 levels in under 100 seconds, so a hidden level called the Shura stage unlocked. It gave 2 choices. Leave now and get the highest rating, SSS, or enter the hidden level. If I won, all rewards would double. If I lost, I could die. I didn't even look at the warning about the danger. I just saw double rewards and pressed confirm. I had hundreds of millions in gold and attributes that crushed everyone else. There was no reason to back down. The ground under me collapsed into a blood-red vortex and pulled me in. When I opened my eyes, I was standing on a huge ancient battlefield. Black scorched earth, broken weapons, and giant bones everywhere. A strong wind was blowing, and I could hear wailing sounds. Then the ground started shaking. Hundreds of black abyssal wolves, level 10, came charging from all directions like a black tide. 500 of them. I told my money ghosts to go. They turned into golden blurs and charged straight into the pack. Each one had 1,400 strength now, and their attacks were over 2,800 damage. The wolves couldn't even get close. They exploded on impact. Experience poured in so fast the notifications turned into one long buzz. I leveled up to 6, then 7 in under a minute. My attributes went up another 200 points total, and the money ghosts grew stronger with me. When the last wolf fell, the battlefield went quiet for a second. Then a huge crack opened in the ground and lava poured out. A 10-meter-tall Hell Demon General climbed out, level 50, with 2 million health and thick, dark red armor. It roared, and the sound wave blew apart the remaining wolf corpses. My money ghosts rushed it and started punching, but the damage was tiny, only a couple hundred points at most. Its defense was too high. They were barely scratching it. I looked at the giant boss and smiled a little. Physical defense too high to break through, I said to myself. Then I'll bury you in money. I raised my right hand and pointed at it. I activated Money Talks and spent 10,000 gold coins. A huge gold coin the size of a millstone appeared in the sky and slammed straight into the Hell Demon General. It did 1 million true damage. Half the boss's 2 million health disappeared in one hit. True damage ignores defense, so the armor didn't matter. I raised my hand again and spent another 10,000 gold. The second coin hit and the boss went down instantly. It exploded into light and left a big crater. I got 80,000 experience. My level jumped from 7 all the way to 13. All my attributes went up to 2,200. The system gave me some loot, but it was all class restricted for warrior or mage, so I couldn't use any of it. I just threw it in my backpack. Then the battlefield started collapsing and the final settlement screen appeared. I got SSS rating for clearing the hidden Shura level, and because it was a hidden stage, all rewards doubled. Final rewards, 200,000 gold coins, 2 free skill points, and a diamond tier exclusive equipment blind box. I opened the blind box and got a pair of diamond grade boots called the Tycoon's boots. They had no defense or stats, but they gave plus 200% movement speed. That was perfect for early game. 3 times faster than normal running. I put them on right away and felt light on my feet. I used 1 skill point on Money Talks. It upgraded to level 2 and now does 150 times the gold coins in true damage instead of 100. I tried to upgrade it again, but it was locked by level. I put the second skill point on Money Makes the World Go Round. It upgraded to level 2. So the money ghosts I summon now inherit 150% of my attributes instead of 100%. I looked at the upgraded skill and saw that the money ghosts now inherit 150% of my attributes instead of 100%. That was a big improvement. I told them to return. The 10 golden figures turned into streams of light and went back inside me. This way I could summon them again later without spending more gold coins. A white beam of light came down and teleported me out. When I appeared in the gymnasium, everyone was staring at me. The place was completely silent. Dozens of teachers and staff were looking at me like I was something they had never seen before. My uniform was still clean and neat, like I had just gone for a short walk. The big screen showed I had cleared all 15 floors. People started shouting that it was impossible because the old record was only 12. Then the screen flashed with bright purple gold light and showed my final rating, SSS. The whole stadium exploded. Teachers were saying things like SSS rank, and this has never happened in the school's 100-year history. Some looked like they couldn't believe their eyes. The vice principal leaned back in his chair, completely stunned. I just stood there with my hands in my pockets, waiting. So after I cleared the dungeon, I was standing in the middle of the stadium with my hands in my pockets. The big screen showed my name at the top in purple and gold letters. It said first place, Lu Fang, 15 floors cleared, SSS rating. Wang Yixing was second with only level 2. I smiled a little when I saw that. Nobody in the crowd knew yet that I had actually cleared all 15 normal levels, killed 3,000 abyss wolves, and wiped out that level 50 hell demon general with 2 million health in just a few minutes. They only saw the final ranking. Then the teleport array lit up and the first group of eliminated students came out. Most of them got knocked out in round 2 or 3. They looked pretty beat up and some had injuries. They were complaining that the wolves in level 2 moved too fast and they barely lasted a minute in level 3. Their settlement panels all showed F rating and 50 copper coins reward. One guy was holding a cheap bottle of medicine and shaking his head like it wasn't worth almost dying for. One of the boys spotted me standing there and figured I must have gotten eliminated early too since I wasn't dirty or hurt. He walked over with this smug look on his face, like he was about to pat me on the shoulder and say something about it being my first time in a dungeon and that it was okay. He was probably trying to make himself feel better after his own F. Our homeroom teacher from class 2 stopped him before he could touch me. He told the guy he was making a fool of himself and to just look up at the screen, so the whole group turned and looked. They saw my name at the top with 15 floors cleared and SSS rating. They all froze with their mouths open. The guy holding the medicine bottle just stared at it, then at the screen like he couldn't believe it. Nobody said anything for a while. About an hour and a half later, the teleport lit up again and Jiang Xia came out. He was sweaty and his uniform was torn in a few places from fighting. He had cleared 8 levels with a B rating and got a pair of silver Windwalker bracers plus a skill book called Rapid Fire. He pumped his fist and said it was awesome. Then he came straight over to where I was sitting with water, sat down next to me, took the bottle I handed him, drank most of it, and said I was too fast. So Jiang Xia wiped his mouth and started complaining about how brutal level 8 was. He said there were 100 iron-skinned bears, and it felt like he almost pulled his arms off, grinding them down. Then he looked at me and asked how many levels I cleared. He figured it must have been easier for me since I was so clean and guessed I probably got an A. I told him I cleared them all. Jiang Xia spit out the water he was drinking and started coughing hard. He said I had to be joking because the school record was only 12 levels. He turned to check the screen himself and just froze when he saw it. He stared at the 15 levels and SSS rating, then looked back at me, then back at the screen. He couldn't even get a full sentence out at first. Finally, he asked if I was even human. About 2 hours and 8 minutes after the dungeon started, the teleport lit up one last time and Wang Yixing came out. He had cleared 12 levels with an A rating and got silver thunder gauntlets, a silver gale necklace, and a skill book called Block. He was covered in blood and his uniform was ripped, but he looked proud of himself. He said he broke the old school record by half an hour and walked straight over to me with this smirk. He looked me up and down and said I must have come out early to rest since I was still so clean. Then he bragged loud enough for everyone to hear that he had cleared up to level 12 and broken the record. He stared at me like he was waiting for me to look jealous or embarrassed. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. Wang Yixing noticed how quiet everything got and how everyone was staring at him with this weird, pitying look. He turned and checked the screen. When he saw he was second place with 12 levels and A rating and I was first with 15 and SSS, he just stood there frozen. He kept repeating that it was impossible and that SSS couldn't even exist. His whole face went blank like he couldn't process it. Then the principal stepped up on the platform, told everyone to quiet down, and said since the dungeon was over, we would start the award ceremony. So the principal stepped up and said we had created a real miracle that would go down in Federation history. Then he announced that I cleared 15 levels with an SSS rating in 1 minute, 17 seconds. The whole gym went crazy. Everyone started yelling and cheering like they couldn't believe it. Jiang Xia dropped his water bottle again and just stared at me with his mouth open. He asked if I was actually telling the truth earlier. I told him yes and bent down to pick up the bottle for him. Wang Yiqing dropped his sword on the floor. He stood there for a second, then sat down, looking completely defeated. The principal handed me a black sealed canister and said it was my exclusive reward. He hoped it would help me do well on the college entrance exam in a month. I took it and walked back to where my class was standing. Jiangsha leaned in right away and told me to open it. I popped the tab while no one was looking. The canister turned into light and a gold ring appeared in my hand. It had a skill that lets you spend 10,000 gold coins to create a 1-second shield worth 1,000,000 health. I put it on. It was a really strong life-saving skill. The rest of the award ceremony went on with other students getting called up. At the end, the principal told everyone not to get discouraged or too proud and to get ready for the exam in a month. Then he said the awakening ceremony was over. Right after that, the whole gym shook hard. The big protective shield above us started vibrating and making this awful noise. All the sunlight disappeared like someone had pulled a black curtain over everything. So the lights in the gym went out all at once like it turned to night. People started yelling, asking what happened. Then 3 figures with dark red energy around them floated down from above, and right after that, over 100 guys in black combat suits with red wolf head badges on their chests landed and surrounded the whole place. The principal stepped forward and shouted, asking who they were and how they dared break in. The bald guy in the middle laughed and said they were the Blood Wolf Society. He said our parents had destroyed their branch in the southern province and killed a lot of their people, so now they were here to kill me and Wang Yiqing to settle the blood debt. The principal asked what they wanted and threatened them with the 3 pillars and the guard team. The bald guy said the 3 pillars were all away dealing with riots at the Abyss Rift, and that they had set up a special barrier called the Dark Night Canopy over the gym. He said inside the barrier no signals could get out and no one outside would hear anything even if they killed everyone. The principal tried his emergency communicator but got no signal. Then he and the vice principal both attacked the barrier with full power. The vice principal swung a giant flaming axe and the principal summoned some giant light figure. But when they hit it, they both got blasted back hard, coughed up blood, and crashed onto the stage looking badly hurt. The bald guy watched them and said the fun was over. He raised his hand and gave the order to kill everyone except me and Wang Yiqing. So right after the bald guy gave the order, the hundreds of men in black started attacking. They threw wind blades, fireballs, and shadow arrows straight at the students. Everyone started screaming and running in panic. The teachers rushed forward and put up earth walls, water curtains, and holy light shields to block the attacks. The explosions knocked over tables and chairs in the front. The principal got back up even though he was hurt and told all the teachers to hold the line and protect the students no matter what. Then he told the vice principal to stall the guy on the left while he went after the bald leader himself. He burned his own life force and charged up into the air as a stream of light. The bald guy used some blood mist that completely countered the principal's holy light attack and blasted him back hard. The principal coughed up blood and looked ready to collapse. The vice principal tried to help, but the effeminate guy with daggers appeared behind him and stabbed him deep in the back. The woman with the curse seals put gray circles on both of them that slowed them down and weakened them fast. Below, the teacher's defensive line started breaking. One teacher's earth wall got smashed and he flew backward. The men in black swarmed in and started hitting the students directly. Students were screaming and running everywhere, some falling down in fear. One of the students near me said the attackers were all level 40 or higher, and the 3 leaders had to be over level 100 since they were beating the principal so easily. He said there was no way we could fight back. So there I was with my level at 13, but my total stats already at 2,200. My money ghost was 1.5 times stronger than me, so 3,300 points. That was more than enough to deal with the guys down there. I took a step forward to call it out and clear the field. Right then, my 2 friends, Wang Yiqing and Jiangsha, grabbed my arms from both sides. Wang Yiqing had blood on his face from the fight, but he didn't even wipe it. He yelled that I was crazy and about to throw my life away. Jiangsha was holding me too, voice shaking, saying not to rush in because even though I cleared the 15th floor, I had only just awakened. Wang Yiqing said if I rushed in, I'd get killed instantly. They both thought I was strong for a new guy, but nowhere near strong enough against people who had been awakened for years. I could tell they were really worried about me, even though they were wrong. I pulled free without any trouble because my strength stat was that high. I told them not to worry, I don't do things that get me killed. Then I turned around and called my money ghost. 10 of them appeared. Each one was over 3 meters tall, solid build, dark gold color, with a big copper coin mark on the face instead of normal features. Every single one had 3,300 points. The students hiding behind me got scared. They thought maybe the enemy had summoned them and started backing away. I pointed at the Blood Wolf Society fighters and just said, "Kill." The 10 ghosts charged straight in. They didn't care about the enemy's skills at all. One grabbed a blade, another punched a guy in the chest with over 2,700 strength, and sent him flying into the wall, dead. It happened everywhere at once. The 10 ghosts just tore through the whole line like it was nothing and started pushing the fight back in our favor. The teachers who were barely holding on saw it and realized these were my summons. Everyone turned and looked at me. They finally understood why I cleared the 15th floor with an SSS rating. These things were strong enough to sweep the whole initial dungeon. Wang Yixing and Zhang Xia just stood there with their mouths open. Up in the sky, the three leaders noticed too. They stopped playing with the principal and vice principal and looked down, surprised at how strong these summoned creatures were. So the bald leader up in the sky was staring straight at me. The joking look was gone. He said that summoning something this strong on the first day meant I couldn't be left alive, or the Blood Wolf Society would have no future. The effeminate assassin and the cursed witch both agreed. They said I had to die right now. I knew the real problem was still up there. If those three level 100 plus leaders got free, everything on the ground would fall apart fast. The principal and vice principal were already in bad shape, covered in blood and barely holding on. I shouted up to them. I told them to control one of the leaders for me, even if it was only for 1 second, because I could kill him. They thought it was insane. A new guy like me trying to kill a level 100 plus powerhouse? They figured I had lost it. The bald leader and the others started laughing and mocking me, saying I was just babbling nonsense because I was scared. Then the cursed witch hit the vice principal with an aging curse that slowed him down. The bald leader kicked him hard in the chest and sent him crashing down, badly hurt. The principal yelled at me, asking if I was ready yet. I shouted again, calm this time. I told them to trust me once. If they wanted to live, do what I said. The vice principal said we were probably going to die anyway, so we might as well try. The principal agreed. They dropped all their defenses at the same time, burned whatever strength they had left, and poured everything into their strongest control skills on the bald leader. Light chains wrapped around his arms and legs. Huge rock hands grabbed his legs and locked him in place. The other two leaders stabbed and cursed the principal and vice principal while they did it, but the two of them held the bind and shouted for me to go. I pointed my finger at the bald leader and used my money talk skill. 10,000 gold disappeared from my account right then. The bald leader looked down at me and laughed. He said even if he stood still, I couldn't break his blood demon protective key because his defense was over 8,000. But before he finished talking, something changed. A huge gold coin appeared in the air above him, bigger and brighter than anything before. The coin came straight down on the bald leader. To him, it felt like a mountain was falling on his head. He tried to break free, but couldn't. Those chains were bought with half the lives of the principal and vice principal. I pressed my finger down. The coin went right through his blood chi like paper and hit him. It did 1.5 million true damage in one hit and took away 2/3 of his health. He screamed and fell from the sky. Everyone froze and stared. 1.5 million true damage that ignores defense and level was insane. The principal and vice principal went from thinking they were dead to looking like they couldn't believe what just happened. I told them to keep going. I used money talks again for another 10,000 gold. A second coin slammed into him and wiped out the last of his health. His body turned into golden light and disappeared completely. Now it was 2 against 2 up there. The effeminate assassin and the cursed witch looked at me with completely different eyes. They were scared. They said I was the biggest threat and had to be killed right now. The assassin ignored the vice principal's attack, took the hit on purpose, and fired a black death light from his dagger straight at my head. Everyone thought I was finished. A level 100 kill shot would destroy any newbie, but I rubbed the dark gold ring on my finger and used money wall. It cost another 10,000 gold and put a pale gold shield around me. The deathlight hit the shield hard and almost broke it, but the shield held. The shield took 2 big hits and lost 630,000 points, but it still had 370,000 left out of a full million. The level 100 attack couldn't break through it. When the light faded, the shield was gone, but I was still standing there fine. Everyone was stunned. My defense was just as crazy as my attack. The effeminate assassin couldn't believe I survived his best shot. I told the principal and vice principal to pin the last 2 down and I'd finish them. They got their fighting spirit back and went after the assassin and the cursed witch hard. I kept using money talks. 1 hit crushed half the assassin's body. Another smashed the witch's shield. A couple more finished them both off. The fight was over in about a minute. Everyone just stared at me like I was something out of this world. The principal walked over, all beat up, and tried to bow and apologize for not protecting the school and needing a student to save him. I stopped him. I told him it wasn't his fault. Those 3 came for me and Wang Yixing because of old grudges from our parents. The school got dragged in because of us. I stepped in to protect myself and everyone else. It was my responsibility. He thanked me. Wang Yixing stood there watching. After seeing what I could do, he just felt the gap was too big. He gave up on ever competing with me. After we finished them off, the black barrier around the gym started breaking apart. Sunlight came back in and everyone's phones started working again. The guard team showed up right after that. Their captain, Ji Shuneng, jumped out of a jet and ran inside, looking completely panicked. He had gotten an alert about 3 level 100 plus intruders with a ceiling barrier at the school and figured we were all dead. When he saw the students were still alive and just scared and dirty, and that me and Wang Yiqing were fine, he looked so relieved he almost fell over. He kept muttering that his career was saved. Then he saw the principal and vice principal covered in blood and getting bandaged. He thought the two of them had somehow held off and counter-killed all 3 level 100 invaders by themselves to protect everyone. He rushed over, grabbed the principal's uninjured hand, and started calling them heroes. He said they were amazing for saving over 1,000 students and even saving his own life. Captain Jishuneng kept gripping the principal's hand and said he would definitely report their contributions and give them the highest award so the whole city would know. The principal and vice principal looked awkward and embarrassed. The principal pulled his hand back and said they couldn't take the credit. He pointed at me and told Jishuneng that while they had held the 3 leaders off, it was actually me who killed them and turned the tide. Jishuneng froze. He looked at me, then at the bodies, then back at me. He couldn't believe a student who just awakened today had killed 3 level 100 powerhouses. He checked the bald leader's corpse and saw the damage wasn't from the principal or vice principal's skills. He finally accepted it. He walked over, patted my shoulder, and said I was even more of a genius than my parents when they were young. I told him it was just good luck. Then he got serious. He bowed deeply in front of everyone and apologized on behalf of the guard team. He said it was their major failure that the Blood Wolf Society had set up a barrier right under their noses and almost caused a tragedy. Without me stepping in, the consequences would have been unimaginable. I told Uncle G that the enemy came prepared and their methods were sneaky, so the guard team couldn't be blamed entirely. He said no, dereliction of duty is dereliction of duty, no excuses. Then he turned to everyone and promised the guard team would take full responsibility and report my achievements to the National Alliance completely. I asked him how the Blood Wolf Society knew the top secret about my parents and Wang Yiqing's father being sent to the front lines. Jishuneng realized there must be a traitor in the city high levels. He promised to find the traitor even if he had to turn Zhong City upside down. Then he ordered his teams to seal the scene and take care of the wounded and students. I patted Zhang Xiao on the shoulder and said, "Let's go." We walked out under everyone's stares. When I got home, the old butler was waiting. He gave me a black gold box from my parents. Inside was an equipment upgrade card that can upgrade any equipment below diamond grade by 1 level while keeping the original effects. I used it on my money barrier ring. It went from gold to diamond. Now it gives plus 50 to all attributes and a skill that costs 20,000 gold for a 2-second shield worth 100 times the gold spent, with a 12-hour cooldown. So after I checked the ring, it had upgraded. The old skill 1,000 gold dispersion changed into 10,000 gold invulnerability. It costs 20,000 gold coins to use now instead of 10,000, but that was nothing to me. The shield lasts 2 seconds and blocks up to 2 million points of damage. That was the same as the full health on that level 50 Hell Demon General from earlier. I can use it twice a day now instead of once. I put the ring back on my finger and felt fine about it. That night I lay in bed holding the ring and thinking about my parents. I wanted to tell them about my SSS rank awakening, solo killing those 3 level 100 Blood Wolf Society guys, and the guard team promise. I turned over and called their private encrypted number. It rang a few times, but no one picked up and it just disconnected. I wondered what they were doing. My dad had answered earlier at the ceremony to send me money, but nothing after that. With everything that happened in Jiangcheng today, I knew the guard team would have reported the Blood Wolf attack, and my parents, as the top people there, should have known about it. I figured they were probably in some area with no signal and tried not to think too much about it. I didn't know this part at the time, but at the guard team command center, Captain Jishuneng finished writing up my full report with my unknown mysterious class, clearing 15 floors in 1 minute, 17 seconds, and killing those 3 level 100 powerhouses. He sent it straight to the Dragon Kingdom headquarters. Then he and his deputy started talking about it. The deputy said with what I showed today, I probably didn't even need to take the college entrance exam. He said if this got out, all the major class transfer universities would go crazy trying to recruit me, and even the top 5 would offer me direct admission without any test. The captain agreed and said that was true. He listed the top 5 as Zhenyuan Academy, Tianwu University, Star Academy, Shenji Institute, and Holy Spirit Academy. He said those are the best places in the whole Dragon Kingdom where everyone dreams of going, but only a few thousand people make it each year from tens of millions of awakened. Even my parents, who were rare geniuses in Jiangcheng for a century, only got into a top-tier university, not the top 5. The captain said I was even more of a monster than my parents. Then the red emergency phone on his desk rang. The captain answered it right away. After listening for a bit, his face went completely white. He dropped the phone on the desk and said the sky had fallen. So right when I was about to turn off the light and sleep, there was a knock at the bedroom door. Uncle John came in looking serious and said Captain Jishuneng was downstairs. I got a bad feeling again, so I threw on a coat and went down fast. Captain G was standing in the living room, still in his uniform, like he had rushed straight over. He looked pale and his eyes were red, and he seemed like he had aged 10 years. I asked him straight out what happened. Captain G had trouble getting the words out at first. He told me I had to hold on. I asked him what happened to my parents. He said news came back from the front line that the 3 pillars, including my parents, had been killed in action. They were on a suppression mission at the Abyss Rift when they ran into a powerful alien. The 3 of them fought it together, but a spatial node went out of control and triggered a spatial storm that swept them and the alien all inside it. I told him that being swept in did not mean they were dead, and there was no body or proof. So on what basis could anyone say that? Captain G explained that a spatial storm is a total disaster with no coordinates, no direction, and everything gets torn apart by turbulence. Once you are inside, communication cuts off completely, and in all of history, no one has ever come back alive. Because of that, the frontline rules say anyone swallowed by a spatial storm is presumed dead. I said that was impossible, and my parents could not have died like that. I said they were just swept in, and I believed they were still alive. Captain G told me the front line was still searching for any spatial fluctuations, and he would tell me the second there was news. He said the most important thing was for me to stay steady because my parents would be proud of what I did today with the SSS rank and killing those 3 level 100 guys. Captain G said he still had to go tell the same news to the Wong family. Then he left. I told Uncle Jong I was going to find my parents. He said the place they went missing is the Abyss Rift front line, and only people level 200 or higher can even step foot there. I said I would level up to 200 very soon. Uncle Jong said okay and that I definitely could. I nodded and went upstairs. So after I went upstairs, Uncle Jong stayed in the living room. He was worried because now that my parents were gone, the Fangfong Chamber of Commerce they built would be mine. It was a big one with a lot of wealth distribution channels, resources, connections, equipment, supply chains, potion workshops, and dungeon material trading across Jiangcheng and the southern province. He knew no one had dared to touch it while my parents were around, but now with me still young, he thought the inheritance probably wouldn't go smoothly. I didn't know any of that at the time, but over at Genuine Academy in Longshan City, the principal read my report and called me a monster. He called in Teacher Joe from the admissions office and told him to go straight to Jiangcheng, test me, and recruit me with S-rank admission if the file was true. S-rank is the highest treatment there, and only a few students per grade ever get it. He said the other top schools would also try to recruit me, so Genuine had to move fast. Then a message came in, and the principal told Teacher Joe no need to go because Tianlong had already made a move. Tianlong is the core power at the very top of the whole Dragon Kingdom. Teacher Joe was shocked that a student who just awakened got Tianlong's attention. The next morning, I woke up calm and got dressed like normal. I went downstairs for breakfast. Uncle Jong had it ready, and he looked worried. He said I didn't have to force myself about my parents. I told him they weren't dead because no bodies were found, and I would bring them back from wherever they were, whether it was a spatial storm or the Abyss Rift. Then I said I was going to run dungeons today to level up fast. Uncle Jong said he understood. I went to the Zhongcheng Profession Center, paid the fee, and entered a room with all the dungeon screens. I picked the Frost Cave one for levels 13 to 18. I was at level 13, right at the entry point. I picked Hell difficulty for the Frost Cave without thinking twice. The screen said dungeons at hard and above needed staff confirmation. This young guy in a Profession Center uniform walked over. His name tag said Dungeon Administrator Liu Cheng. He looked at what I selected and asked if I clicked the wrong thing. I told him no. He asked if I was really sure about Hell Solo. I said yes. His face changed and he said it was nonsense. The Frost Cave on Hell recommends a 4-person team with at least 1 tank, 1 healer, and the other 2, preferably fire, DPS. He said I wasn't dungeon crawling, I was just courting death. I didn't argue with him. I knew he was only following the rules to keep new people from dying. I pulled out my phone and called Captain Ji Xunang directly. When he picked up, I told him I was at the Profession Center, wanted to enter Frost Cave on Hell, but the staff wouldn't let me in, and asked him to confirm it with the guy. I handed the phone over. Liu Cheng answered, and the second he heard the name, his back went straight. He said yes, understood, and confirmed. Then he gave the phone back to me with both hands. His whole attitude changed. Before he was looking at some dumb rookie. Now he was looking at me like I was something else entirely. He tapped the screen and the portal opened. It showed my name, level 13, and number of people. 1. He saw that and his eye twitched. He told me if I ran into trouble inside, I could use an emergency evacuation scroll, even though Hell had a 3-second delay. I said no need, I'd be out soon. Then I stepped through. Inside the dungeon, the system said there was an extreme cold domain effect that slowed movement by 30%, attack speed by 20%, and made stamina drain 50% faster. It didn't matter to me. I called out my money ghosts. 10 of them appeared at once. Frost wolves at level 12 started coming out in big groups. The ghosts just smashed them flat the second they showed up. I kept walking forward while they cleared the path ahead. Traps got triggered and tanked through instantly. I finished the first section in 3 minutes, the second in 5, and the third in 6. Everything got crushed the moment it appeared. My level went up to 14, then right after to 15. I reached the final boss room deep in the dungeon. The big ice gate opened, and this 10-meter tall ice blue giant bear was lying on a platform in the middle. It was the Frost Tyrant, level 50, with over 1,000,000 HP. It had a special thing on Hell where if its health dropped below half, it would recover 5% of its max HP every second for 20 seconds. It woke up, looked at me, and roared. I just said, kill. My 10 money ghosts charged straight in. The bear barely got to stand before they were on it, hitting it with fists, elbows, knees, and stomps. No fancy moves, just raw power. Its health bar dropped through 90%, 70, 50. The recovery started, but the ghosts kept pounding and emptied the bar completely before it could do anything. The dungeon cleared. I got 80,000 experience, leveled up to 17, and got an SSS rating. Clear time was 29 minutes and 48 seconds. I picked up the drops on the ground, but they were all for other classes, so I just threw them in my inventory. Then I recalled the money ghosts and stepped through the exit portal. Back at the profession center, Liu Chung was sitting there, chatting on his phone. When I walked out, he thought I had wiped. He came over and said it was fine, normal to fail the first time on Hell, and that lasting half an hour alone was already pretty good. Right then, the clear screen next to him lit up with purple gold text. Frost Cave, Hell, cleared by me solo, 29 minutes 48 seconds, SSS rating. His eyes went wide and he said, "Holy crap, you cleared it?" I told him to open the next dungeon for me, a level 17 entry 1 on Hell. He asked which. I said Lava Ruins. He pulled up the list with shaking hands and opened it. I thanked him and walked into the new portal. Later he called Captain G and told him I had solo cleared the Frost Cave on Hell in under 30 minutes with an SSS rating. I didn't know any of this until Captain G told me later, but here's what happened right after he got the call. He was in a meeting with the city lord, Han Qianshan, when the report came in. They checked the old records and found out the previous fastest Hell clear for Frost Cave was done 5 years ago by a full 4-person team averaging level 15. It took them 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 42 seconds. My solo time of 29 minutes and 48 seconds with SSS made the city lord go quiet. He called me a monster and said it was the only good news the city had that day, especially after losing the 3 pillars. They started talking about how my talent would pull in the 5 great academies, and how we could maybe use that to get some high-level experts temporarily stationed here to help with the security problems. Then a man in a long black coat just appeared by the window out of nowhere. No one saw him come in. No alarms went off. Nothing. Captain G stood up and reached for his weapon, but the city lord immediately bowed and called him my lord. The guy showed a black token with a golden dragon on it that said Heavenly Dragon on the back. He said he was in the area on a mission, and higher-ups had sent him to take a quick look because of me. Later, Captain G told me what happened in that meeting. The man in black had them pull up my full file and took the whole thing into his hand in under 10 seconds. Then he told them not to tell me anything, not to make a scene, and not to let anyone know he had been there. After that, he just faded away right in front of them with no teleport light or anything. They figured out he was from Tianlong. Captain G said it's some group above the 5 great academies that only takes the absolute top people after they screen through the best graduates, and it answers straight to the highest level of the country. That explained why no academies had contacted them yet. After I went into the Lava Ruins, I just kept clearing dungeons the whole day. I did Molten Ruins Hell in 34 minutes, Poison Mist Swamp in 38, Bone Graveyard in 32, Thunder Canyon in 41, and kept going like that. 16 dungeons total before the day was over. Every single one was solo Hell difficulty with SSS rating, and everyone smashed the old Zhangcheng records by hours. By evening, I was level 40. Liu Chung stood at the entrance watching me go in and out. By afternoon, he looked completely numb and just kept saying, "He went in again." Captain G and the city lord got the reports while they were talking defense plans. They couldn't believe the speed. Normal people with full teams and good resources take months to reach level 40. I did it in 1 day. They started guessing how long until I hit level 100 for the first transfer. Captain G said maybe half a month. The city lord said 10 days. The next day I went back to the profession center as usual. When Liu Chung saw me, he stood up right away and started calling me sir. He already had the highest experience Hell dungeon for my current level range pulled up before I even opened my mouth. I thanked him and went in. I cleared dungeons the whole day again. By evening when I came out, I was level 58. 1.5 days from level 13 to 58. I checked my panel and decided I could reach level 100 and finish the first advancement in 1 week at most. Later I heard what was going on at the Fang Fang Chamber of Commerce, the one my parents started. The executives were in a meeting because they already knew the 3 pillars were gone. They said once the news got out, other groups would come after the chamber. Some wanted to give up shares, channels, and profits to bigger factions in exchange for protection so the place wouldn't collapse. Others reminded everyone that I was the legal heir and held most of the shares, so any big moves needed my approval. A few said I was only 18 and didn't know how to run a chamber of commerce, and talked about sidelining me so they could make decisions without me getting in the way. One of them mentioned I had awakened a special profession and killed a level 100 powerhouse right after. Later I heard the chamber executives didn't believe the stories about me killing level 100 powerhouses. They said it was probably some backup plan my parents left behind and that no academies had come to recruit me, so the rumors were exaggerated. They decided to come see me the next morning to get me to agree to give up some shares and channels in exchange for protection from bigger groups, and to let a temporary committee run the chamber while I stayed as heir in name only. If I refused, they planned to use the chamber rules to freeze my decision power or shut everything down. The next morning at breakfast, Steward Zhang and Zhang Xia were both there. Zhang Xia tried to get me to take half a day off and go out to eat to celebrate us both awakening. They were worried I was grinding too hard after everything that happened. I told them I was fine and clear-headed and would rest when I needed to. Right then, the nanny came in and said several high-level executives from the chamber had arrived and wanted to see me. The next morning, the chamber executives came to the villa. Chen Guangmao led them and started with fake condolences about my parents. I told them my parents weren't dead. Director Lin Man said the chamber couldn't run on hope and laid out their plan to sacrifice channels and profit shares for protection from bigger groups in the southern province, plus set up a temporary management committee to run things while I stayed legal heir in name only. I said that meant handing my parents' legacy to outsiders. Chen Guangmao said it was preserving strength because without top experts, we couldn't hold it anymore. I told them with me here, the chamber wouldn't collapse. Chen Guangmao laughed and said I was too young, that running a chamber was for 10 or 20 years from now. They tried to bribe Steward Zhang with a high-level crystal core, a potential potion, and a full set of silver archer gear for Zhang Xia if he persuaded me to go along. Zhang Xia smashed the box on the floor, told them to take their junk back, and said he'd never betray me no matter what. Steward Zhang stepped behind me and said my decision was his decision. Director Lin Man said if I didn't agree, they had other methods and it wouldn't be pretty. They talked about using the senior management joint meeting system and board agreements to take over. I smiled and said if we went to court as primary heir, I might win. They tried to guilt me about destroying the legacy my parents built. I told them in the end this is a world where strength does the talking. I stood up and told them since they thought I wasn't qualified to run the chamber, we'd settle it the simple way. In 5 days at the chamber headquarters, I'd fight everyone who refused to submit to me. If I lost, I'd never interfere with the chamber again, and they could do whatever they wanted. If I won, everyone from top to bottom would listen to me. They were stunned at first, then Chen Guangmao got excited and agreed right away. Lin Man said we needed a written agreement, so no one backed out later. We drafted it quickly and both sides signed. After they left, Uncle Zhang and Zhang Xia were worried. Uncle Zhang explained that level 200 professionals after the first advancement get at least 5 times more stats per level than before level 100, so the gap is huge and I was taking too big a risk. Zhang Xia still thought I could win since I already beat level 100s. I told them I don't fight unprepared battles and 5 days was enough. Then I grabbed my jacket and went to the profession center. Uncle Zhang sighed that I was too reckless and that losing might teach me how cruel the world really is. Zhang Xia kept hoping I'd win, so the chamber guys were driving off when Chen laughed hard and said heaven was really helping him because I suggested using combat to settle who owns the chamber. Lin smiled and said she thought it would take more work. An elder scoffed that young people like me think we're invincible after killing some Bloodwolf members just over level 100, but I only did it with my parents' protection and have no idea what a level 200 professional is like. Zhao frowned and told them not to be careless because I'm Lu Tianshong and Su Qingyu's son and might have trump cards. Chen waved it off and said, "So what if I have them? I can't use them 10 times, and this time we'll have all the high-level chamber professionals there anyway." They agreed to contact big chambers in other cities right away, so when I lose in 5 days, they can force the agreement through immediately, let the management committee take over, and activate the external protection deal at the same time so I can't back out. Chen said he'd call Wanbao about equipment channels, another elder would talk to Blackstone for strong people in exchange for some shares, and Lin would handle Tianhe for the potion workshop. I didn't take the chamber upper management seriously. It was just a temporary hurdle. What really mattered was the abyss rifts where my parents might have gone missing. I entered the Black Rock Volcano dungeon on Hell difficulty. The system said level 58 entry, recommended party of 8, scorching domain that burns you every minute and drains stamina 80% faster. I summoned my 10 money ghosts that copy my stats and told them to clear the field. They wiped out the level 62 lava hellhounds with 380,000 HP each, and I got non-stop experience. I leveled up 3 times fast and kept going all day until I reached level 75. It stays quick because every time I level my stats jump and the ghosts get stronger too, so they clear faster, which gives more experience faster, and it cycles even as the requirements get huge. Normal people level once every 10 days or 2 weeks at this stage, but I don't slow down much. After that I went home to rest and planned to continue tomorrow. Later I heard that at the City Lord's office, Ji told Han I cleared a level 75 dungeon. Han asked if it was me again and said the world feels abnormal. Ji said it's just me who's abnormal. Han said he felt sorry for the Fang Fang Chamber upper management because they can't imagine what kind of monster I am and are trying to carve up the chamber while my parents are gone instead of supporting me. G suggested leaking some info about my talent so they'd wise up and my takeover would go smoother. Han thought about it, then shook his head and said, "No." He said I'm being evaluated by the Heavenly Dragon, and no one knows what they're looking for, so we can't interfere casually. So at the City Lord's office, G went quiet. Han said that whether I win or lose this duel is still a good chance for me to show what I can do. If we leak the news early and make the higher-ups back down, it might actually ruin my assessment. G nodded and said that makes sense. Han leaned back and said he also wants to see just how far this kid can go. G smiled wryly and said, "The Fang Fang Chamber has 4 level 200 powerhouses, and if they team up shamelessly when the time comes, I might not win, because the gap between level 200 and level 100 is just too big," Han said, "but we can't say for sure because nothing I've done since Awakening has been normal." G laughed and said, "That's true. The next day I kept grinding dungeons like a machine and reached level 88 by evening. The day after that I grinded until it was dark and hit level 99. I was exhausted but told the administrator to open one more hell difficulty dungeon at level 99 entry called Blood Moon Altar. I cleared it in 40 minutes, got an SSS rating, and leveled straight to 100. The system said I reached the first class advancement cap and can't gain more experience until I complete the advancement quest. I decided to do the class advancement the next day since the duel is the day after tomorrow. I put away my money ghosts and left through the portal. What I didn't know at the time was that 2 guys from Tianlong were standing above the clouds watching the Profession Center the whole time. The middle-aged man in the gray robe was shocked that I went from Awakening to level 100 in just 6 days, and said even looking at the last 10,000 years of Dragon Kingdom history, I'm one of the fastest. He said Qinguanhai took 8 days even with full family resources, top teams, and max potions, while I soloed hell difficulty the entire time. He wanted me in his team after the training camp, but the man in black said I haven't passed his assessment yet. They talked about why the standards have to stay high. My growth is too fast, so if my character or mindset goes wrong, the threat I could become is way bigger than normal, and they can't lower the bar for talented people, or they might end up recruiting future disasters instead of guardians. The gray-robed man eventually agreed.